Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Gurudev. All glories to this auspicious occasion of 71st Vyasa Puja celebration of our dear spiritual master and Father, His Holiness Devamrita Maharaj. Thank you, everyone, for coming together. Please. Thank you, everyone, for coming together. Can everybody hear me properly? Just 1 second. I think there's something. All right. Yeah, I think now it's better. Thank you, everyone, for coming together to celebrate this wonderful occasion of Vyasa Puja celebration of our beloved spiritual master, Gurudev. And all glories to the assembled devotees. And special thanks to Gurudev for joining us this morning and allowing us to show our appreciation for you. Before we begin, I just want to say special thanks to Bhakti Lounge community for putting together this very beautiful Kirtan band. And also, I would like to mention that throughout the ceremony, I will be available via chat message. So feel free to contact me with your suggestion to move forward, or if there's any technical problem, and I will try to be as responsible as I can. I'll be quite responsive. And so to open the ceremony, the devotees in Wellington have made a special video. I'll now request Soumya Mai Mataji to please share her screen so we can share the video which the Wellington devotees have put together. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One thing I would like to humbly ask for is if as many of you as possible, according to your situation, could turn on your video screen so I can get your association in that way. I know in some cases it may not be possible, but if it is possible, please do so. Makes things more personal, you know. We are trying to be persons. Hare Krishna to you all.
Thank you very much.
We think that we have met your goodness by the will of Providence, just so that we may accept you as captain of the ship for those who desire to cross the difficult ocean of Kali, which deteriorates all the good qualities of a human being.
We are fully confident that these books are the most desperate need of human society. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam are in direct contact with Krishna.
There is no comparison, there is no literature throughout the universe like Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no comparison, there is no competition. Every word is for the good of the human society. Somewhere or other, if the book goes in one's hand, he will benefit. Therefore you are stressing so much. Please distribute book, distribute book, distribute book.
Prabhupada's potency is all about complete dedication to Srimad Bhagavatam, knowing that Bhagavatam distribution will change the face of the world. We're trying to be the humble servants of Srila Prabhupada's desires.
Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept this group Sankirtan offering as our humble attempt to repay back the debt for all that you've given us and to assist you in fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's desires. On Saturday the 16th of October, your legal appearance day, your disciples and well-wishers from all over the world came together for a common preaching mission. We made a short promo video to bring our God family together and made global goals as a means to increase and help us have a collective focus according to your desire.
So my constant prayer is how the set distribution can increase.
We chose to focus on Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1 with the idea that this endeavour may plant seeds for future recipients of Srimad Bhagavatam sets and also help increase the awareness and distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam within society. We started the day by rallying the troops together for a global Zoom class to gain inspiration and to set the mood for the day.
And the spiritual master is working so hard to pull people out of the ocean constantly, 24 hours a day practically, speaking with intense dedication.
This beating of the Brihad Mridanga can be heard all over the world. The books make their way to places where devotees have never been before.
Then we set out on a mission to paint the towns blue with Srimad Bhagavatam, to paint the towns blue for you, our Guru.
It's time to paint the towns blue, going out for our Guru. Let's paint the towns blue, going out for our Guru. Srimad Bhagavatam has arisen like the sun. Has arisen like the sun. Let's come together. Let's come together. Let's come together as one. It's time to paint the towns blue, going out for our Guru. Let's paint the towns blue.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Wow, amazing. Guru Maharaj, please accept this humble offering from your many dedicated disciples around the world. And thank you, everyone, for your heartfelt offering. It's incredible how, when we come together, what can be accomplished. And just to let you know that Soumya Mai Mataji will share this video later on the WhatsApp group we have for Guru Maharaj classes. She will share the video later on. So now we'll move to the next part of our program, which is homages. So I will be posting the list of the devotees who have put their name forward to read the offerings. And so I'll request everyone to please follow the order, the list I'm sharing on the chat now. Just give me 1 second. All right, so I've shared the list as everybody can see. To ensure everyone has a chance to speak, the devotees who have write their names down. So I request everyone to please offer your obeisances and pranam mantra prior to beginning your offering. So that would save a little bit of time. And the person who's reading out the homages, when they finish, they can mute themselves and the next person can start right after. All right, so now I request the first person on the list is Krishna Loka Mataji to begin the homages. Hi Krishna, I think Bhakti Lounge is on mute. We can't hear anything at the moment.
Please unmute and start again.
Pessimistic, not optimistic.
Please start again.
What's that? Do I start again? Am I in the right place? Can you hear Gurudev?
Yes.
Can you hear Gurudev?
Yes.
I'll start again. Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to you, an unswerving servant of the Lord. You sent a quote to some devotees. So this world is always, we should remember, full of miseries. We are thinking that I am very comfortably situated. That is illusion. That is Maya. This is wrong conception. You should be very much pessimistic, not optimistic. Optimistic, that is animal conception. The animals, they do not know. Any miserable condition, even in the slaughterhouse, just after a few minutes, the animal will be slaughtered. But it is thinking that I am safe, eating grass. I have seen the goat. In India, of course, they do not slaughter cows. Some of them slaughter cows. So the one goat is being slaughtered and the other goat is standing there eating grass. It is thinking, I am very safe. Srimad Bhagavatam 16:1, 16-20, August 2nd, 1971, New York. Amidst these shaking times, it's reassuring to be reminded of the optimistic illusion and to keep the main thing, devotional service, and trying to bring others into the realm of devotional service. I'm very, very grateful for that bedrock. Thank you, Gurudev. I have always liked how you paint a true picture of this world to smash our false hopes and dreams. The real dream is Goloka Vrindavan, and the main hope is to please the spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The rest is just an awful drama, one after another. It is actually difficult to find anyone these days who actually hasn't experienced trauma in their drama. But that is not surprising, because that's how this part of the material world is made, to make us suffer. The only way to get relief and to rise above that is to engage in devotional service. Phew. Thank you for engaging me in devotional service all these years. It has been by far the best part of my life ever. As the years fly by, I gain deeper respect and appreciation for you. Appreciation for what you have done for myself and others. You never stop giving. I really respect your compassionate and giving nature, Gurudev, and hope to be like that one day. With gratitude, your servant, Krishnalok Devidasi.
Dearest Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances and the dust at your lotus feet. Is the sound working? It is.
Yes, but you should announce yourself so that everyone knows who's speaking.
Okay, sorry. Rasiyatra speaking. All glories to you, faithful, determined, and sincere follower of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. This path of bhakti is a truly magnificent path, passed down via disciplic succession for millennia, century after century. Each civilization over the ages bound by the concept that their life and times is unique, special. How is it that in this boring age of information, misinformation, truths, half-truths, semi-truths, propaganda, and outright lies, amidst an ocean of faults on a middle planetary system in the middle of universal nowhere, one gets the opportunity to read verses such as described in Talks Between the Lord and Ramananda Roy? Such an incredible boon against the dim backdrop of material life. Wow, and here we are, somehow or other, aspiring to serve the devotees whom serve you in your service to your spiritual master. It's a funny thing, this aspiration to be a devotee. While innate and natural, certainly over time, the enormity of what it actually means to aspire for devotion begins to dawn. Increasingly, the sense of deep gratitude for all you offer, your classes, your personal messages, your adjustments, your example, your innate skill to deftly manage a myriad of situations, all the while relishing your sadhana practice and caring for devotees. Thank you, Gurudev, for your presence in our lives. Thank you, Gurudev, for your illuminating example of what it means to be a sincere servant of your spiritual master. Thank you, Gurudev, for providing safe passage across these stormy seas. Thank you, Gurudev, for sharing with us lost souls on this boring planet a peek into the spiritual world by encouraging regular reading of Srila Prabhupada's precious books. Thank you, Gurudev, for offering me refuge at the Ponsonby Loft all those years ago, when somehow or other you saw a glimmer of hope for me as my defences broke down at the Waiheke Wharf. I aspire to be the servant of your actual servants. All glories to you on this auspicious day of your Vyasa Puja festival.
Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your divine selfless service. I appreciate your ability as a leader to exemplify
and teach focus on the essentials, hearing and chanting about Krishna and selfless service to Krishna. Your example is so powerful that meditating on it gives me impetus to try to push forward and out of my Kiwi conditioned slumber. I appreciate you run a tight/tidy ship, don't like chaos, nothing lackadaisical, leaving Srila Prabhupada's mission battered to the side. Unnecessary distractions are identified and put in their place. Hindrances to fulfilling the desires of the previous acharyas are removed. You establish for us all, whoever willing, an operating mode, an atmosphere to exist in, born of the spiritual intelligence and focus of the parampara, in which we can live peacefully, even while surrounded by the ocean of anxiety that is the material world. As a responsible leader, you set the tone, aligned with the desires of our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. I appreciate that you steady the ship when needed, in whatever way you see suitable, always hearing, chanting, and service, the essence, the fundamentals, like regular classes while we're in various stages of lockdown in Australasia. Yes, hearing, chanting, and service, life can be so simple in this ocean of complexities if we're able to catch hold of your message and apply it. How fortunate I am to have received this training in a simple, sublime life from you and your servants. I can't thank you enough. I am dense, slow, and stubborn to learn, but I desire to someday sacrifice everything I have in your service. I am so attached to my so-called freedom and afraid to selflessly give everything to Krishna for fear I can't handle it. In other words, I'm too selfish. Thank you for giving us your association so much with online hearing and chanting about Krishna through these pandemic times. Thank you for impressing upon us this greatest healing cure. Quote from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 4. If anyone willingly or unwillingly hears Krishna Katha, his bhava roga, the disease of birth and death, will certainly stop. Therefore, Krishna Katha is called bhavoshada, the remedy to stop the repetition of birth and death. This really, end of quote, this really is our shelter from the storms that are always raging in the material world. The spiritual platform is real. Hearing and chanting about Krishna in your person Bhagavat association takes us there. Maya is also real, and without hearing, chanting, and service engagement, reaching for spiritual absorption, we can be there also in a flash. Hearing and chanting about Krishna via Srila Prabhupada's priceless books gives our life meaning, context, purpose, impetus to serve and sacrifice, heart satisfaction, intelligence to discriminate, spiritual knowledge to share, impetus to share with and help others, and an overall atmosphere of auspiciousness and happiness in Krishna consciousness. Life without sufficient hearing and chanting is full of anxiety, confusion, aimlessness, dissatisfaction, and emptiness. We can choose which of these two atmospheres we want to live in, thanks to your unfailing coaching. I beg for the strength to take real rather than minimal shelter of hearing, chanting, and selfless service. I haven't mentioned that on top of or in support of these fundamentals, so that these fundamentals can go on, you are working hard to try and establish the beginning of a real human civilization by cultivating authentic and enduring brahmacharya and grihastha ashrams. All glories to you. Your glorious sacrifice extends above and beyond whatever tiny fractions I've written here, aspiring to be a sacrificial servant. Kadiravan Devidasi.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, it's Municharya Dasya. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to you on this wonderful celebration of your Vyasa Puja. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. In one sense, in a selfless way, I could say that this COVID pandemic has been such a wonderful blessing. It has meant that you have been locked down here in New Zealand, although it has not facilitated me seeing you in person very much. It has been so nice knowing that you are close by, and you have stayed in my apartment a couple of times also. And apart from occasional earthquakes, tsunamis, and volcanic eruptions, maybe New Zealand is a safe-ish place to be locked down in at the moment. I have had one long-time friend and regular yoga student die of COVID-19. It was a grim reminder that there is no such thing as a safe place in the material world. She was so strong and healthy. Ironically enough, she caught COVID while she was attending her mother's funeral, who also died of COVID. In a Zoom class recently, you explained that the only real cure for the pandemic of material existence is to read Srimad Bhagavatam. And even then, you have to read it every day to get the full inoculation. You were not sidetracking to possible cures for the virus or diving into the bottomless well of conspiracy theories, but you just stuck to the tried and trusted, the most powerful cure to all problems, namely the divine books of your spiritual master. It is interesting, as I'm watching you on Zoom, the place where we position the laptop has a framed photo of you just behind it, a photo that was taken over 20 years ago. And you look just the same, Guru Maharaj, or actually you look even younger now, to be honest. I know it's just my vision of your body, but it's as if you were getting younger year by year. Of course, you are wanting to get moving and start your exhausting worldwide traveling schedule. The lockdowns and restrictions must be very frustrating. For as many decades as I have been alive, you have been traveling the globe in search of conditioned souls to whom you can give the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just as you gave that mercy to me so many years ago, and of course, continue to do so all of the time. I hope that one day I can take full advantage of this mercy myself and in some small way follow in your footsteps and freely give this mercy to others. I must apologize here and say I am not doing much at this moment in terms of outreach or preaching, just trying to keep my own Krishna consciousness on track and keep my own foundation strong is my main focus. I guess there are worse things I could be doing, but still I want to assist you more in your tireless mission. Sridhachari and I are hoping to develop the yoga teacher training into something that can give a lot of Krishna consciousness to others. This year's training showed us that it is possible, but it has so much more potential, we feel. I missed your in-person Vyasa Puja last year because I was completing my 500-hour advanced yoga training, the qualification I require in order to continue teaching teachers. So it seemed a worthy sacrifice at the time. Running these trainings at Bhakti Lounge has been financially lucrative for our center and made more people favorable to our teachings and path and books. And definitely we feel it will be a powerful way to give Krishna consciousness to others. Begging to always get your direction and guidance and the ability to serve you. Thank you, Guru Maharaj, your servant, Muni Charitas.
Hare Krishna. It's Sridhachari here. Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you. Tonight, after I've written this, I have another opportunity to hear you speak. I always marvel at your classes. Your speaking skill is incredible. It astonishes me that you can speak fluidly for 2 hours or more. Your words are simultaneously relevant, enchanting, inspiring, educational, and mesmerizing. Simply hearing your voice soothes my heart. Your confidence in Bhagavatam settles my anxieties. Each class is like a guided tour of the spiritual and material worlds. I perch on the edge of my cushion and soak it all in. I never want to miss a single word. Early last year in Mayapur, pre-pandemic, I was praying to Srila Prabhupada in his samadhi. I told him how stuck I was feeling, how uninspired, how beat down, how depleted. He reminded me, "You are Lord Chaitanya's girl. You have to preach." I had forgotten that when I lived in Melbourne, I used to think of myself as Lord Chaitanya's girl. Everything I did was centered around outreach. I was so happy, and I knew you were happy with me. I felt my life had purpose. That was more than 15 years ago. Since then, life has been a long, hard slog for me, with various setbacks, one after another. Many of them were pretty heavy. I tried to maintain my outreach focus, but after so many crushing events, I became defensive, self-absorbed, doubtful, and morose. My life's purpose had evaded me. I hope that during this period I have developed spiritually in some way, although I don't feel that I have. Thank you for your patience and kindness, Gurudev. It is what has sustained me. Since we came to Wellington, I've tried to plug into the Bhakti Lounge outreach scene in various ways, but somehow I've never found my niche. Not that there is anything wrong with Bhakti Lounge. I love all the devotees, and the outreach results speak for themselves. It's just that, for many reasons, I don't fit into the preaching style there. But I think I found an opening. This year, Munichari and I undertook a project for Bhakti Lounge. We ran a 200-hour yoga teacher training course, YTT. Muni has wanted to run one for years, and as my health had been gradually improving over the last few years, I grabbed the outreach opportunity. Muni put in many thousands of hours planning the teaching content and writing up an impressive 200-page manual. And I undertook to organize and administer the course and to teach the philosophy content. It was challenging at times, but I've really enjoyed being back in action. As you would expect in a new project, there were a few glitches, but for the most part, it was successful. During a YTT, we are with the students for more than 200 hours. And because they're interested in yoga lifestyle, the outreach potential is super exciting. Please give us your blessings so that we can make the most of our outreach potential in the YTT we plan to run next year. But as you can see, the Charis are back, better than ever. Your servant and spiritual daughter, Shri Chari Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna, devotee, just a reminder that everybody who's reading out the offering, they have maximum 3 minutes. So it would be nice before they start reading if they can have a timer on, so we won't go over 3 minutes. Thank you. Hare Krishna. We have Gopal Guru Prabhu next on the list. If he's not here, then Krishna Prasad Prabhu. After Krishna Prasad Prabhu is Radha Prasad Mataji. If you're there, please, you can start.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. It is quite amazing that this human form and matter we use in relation to it can actually be used in whichever way we choose to either elevate or degrade our consciousness. This human form is actually our vehicle out of this material predicament. Why then is it so rare for someone to utilize it for its true purpose? We read in Nectar of Devotion recently, Krishna does not agree to award devotional service to merely anyone. Krishna can easily offer a person material happiness or even liberation, but he does not agree very easily to award a person engagement in his devotional service. Devotional service can in fact be attained only through the mercy of a pure devotee. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, by the mercy of the spiritual master who is a pure devotee and by the mercy of Krishna, one can achieve the platform of devotional service. There is no other way. For some reason or other, some mercy has actually flowed my way. How is it that I have come across such fortune and the majority of living entities have not? It is only by your mercy, Gurudev. We constantly hear these things in the Shastra, but for some reason we don't see the jewel. I seem to take devotional service for granted. It's on tap whenever we want to dive right in. but yet I don't make it my priority. Gurudev, you are gradually helping me to open my eyes and see devotional service is definitely our true wealth. There are so many ups and downs and fluctuations in this world, but devotional service will carry us through. Even when I don't prioritize properly, you will encourage and push, constantly looking for ways to inspire and pull us from the Kali Yuga quicksand that is forever dragging us down. You are always uniquely inventing newer and better ways to reach out to us, packaging the very same contents differently in the hope that something will actually penetrate our Kali-covered consciousness. In a recent dream, I had just loaded up your bags and you stood and looked me in the eye and said, "You need to find your purpose." That was it. Then you sat down. I was left hanging, not really knowing what this meant. What is my purpose, Gurudev? My false ego makes me think I have come so far, yet I haven't even begun to scrape the surface. You mentioned in your class on Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja this year that there is so much more work to be done. I want to be a part of this. What is more important? What is holding me back? Whether pro-vax or anti-vax, the real pandemic in this world is our lack of purpose and forgetfulness of Krishna. In this forever increasing need of an actual human civilization, please kindly give me the real vaccination and allow me to go deep, properly give the priority and attention the Maha Mantra actually deserves, and gain just a little purity so I can be of some value in your service. Your servant, Krishna Prasad.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to you on this most auspicious day, your Vyasa Puja. This year marks the occasion that for half my life I've been fortunate enough to have your shelter and guidance. Where has this time gone? I can't believe how fast life is flying by. It's interesting to realize, thank you. It's interesting to realize that I used to think that anyone over 40 years old was ancient. Now my husband is over 40 and I'm fast approaching that age too. It honestly feels like within a blink of an eye, we were in our teens and now here we are. I used to lament that I'd come to Bhakti too late in my life. At just 19, I thought I'd missed the boat. I'd exhausted myself subscribing to the materialistic way of life, partying too hard, living far from the standard of civilized life. How grateful I am that you scooped us up and transformed our lives. How grateful and indebted I am to you for all these years, the adventures, the challenges, the struggles. It's all been worth it. The simplicity and beauty of Bhakti being woven into every facet of our lives every single day. How blessed we truly all are. When I first started practicing, I felt like an outsider, like I didn't belong. It all felt so foreign to me and the struggle was real. But your love and guidance changed everything for me. I'll never forget the kindness and care you showed us in these early years and for everything you continue to do now. It blows me away the care you bestow upon everyone. You really are investing so much time and energy into helping us wayward souls find our way back to Krishna. The path of Bhakti is like riding along a train track. One side of the track is our enthusiasm and determination, and the other is made up of the spiritual masters and Krishna's mercy. All elements are needed for the Bhakti Express train to steam ahead. Our life choices and decisions alter the course of our direction and propel us forward to the destination in which we wish to obtain. It's a personalized approach. Intention and action are key. Once in a lecture, you mentioned how impersonalism is the default position in the material world. And it really got me thinking and questioning how often this impersonal mindset can creep into my life. The danger of how mechanically we can begin to function when we disconnect ourselves from Krishna. A few months ago on a trip with you, the word came that another lockdown was upon us. The plans we had made had been derailed, but you weren't the slightest bit fazed by this. Instead, you smiled and said, Disruptions, disruptions. That's the nature of this material world. You are teaching us by your example how to navigate this material world. Disruptions and perplexities will always come, but chanting and remembering Krishna is always possible. Just like an ordinary train conductor travels to various locations with the train to ensure the safe arrival of the cargo and passengers, you are the transcendental conductor of our Bhakti Express train. You are mercifully accompanying us on this journey in life to guide, care, and instruct us how to have a safe passage through this rocky terrain of material existence. The stoker is the person who puts the coal in the fire of the steam engine, which causes the train to move. Similarly, we are like the stoker. It's up to us how much coal we want to put on the Bhakti fire to get things cranking and moving. It's up to us how much effort and endeavour we want to dedicate to this mission. Working with coal, it can be a messy affair, the black soot, the heat from the fire, the fatigue from the constant attention and effort. Sometimes while working away, we can forget to look up and see how far we've come. The true jewel of remaining dedicated to the practice of bhakti can seem to fade into the background when we're faced with our own inadequacies head on. We see things come up that have been lurking in the depths of our hearts and our minds that we didn't even know existed, the anartas that we didn't even realize were there, how intensely the false ego pushes us. And then the saintly conductor, you, dear Gurudev, come along and checks in to see how we're doing, makes suggestions, gives guidance to improve our service. And with renewed enthusiasm, we get back to tackle the task at hand. I would be lost without you, Gurudev. If it weren't for you, my bhakti train would have gone way off course and no doubt derailed and ended up a complete train wreck. Thank you for keeping me on course and trudging along. I'm eternally grateful and indebted to you. I pray and beg, please always allow me to remain in the fire of devotional service, to always endeavour to continue to work on burning up the stockpile of coal of anartas that I continue to carry around with me, and to forever remain at the shelter of your lotus feet. Your indebted servant and spiritual daughter, Radha Prasad Devi Dasi.
Raman Krishna Prabhu is next, and then followed by Sambhava Prabhu.
Please accept Lord Srila Prabhupada. Can I be heard?
It is a bit better now, but before it wasn't, and we can't see. Yeah. Try again. Try now.
I'll try and speak louder. Hare Krishna.
Turn off your video. The sound may improve that way.
Gurudev, please accept my humble years of life. No regrets. Eternal teacher, father, you have carved a clear path for my life's ultimate goal and fostered in me all kinds of qualities I never used to value, trying to be one-pointed in determination and steadfast in Krishna consciousness. I've come to delight hearing the immortal pastimes of the Lord and his devotees is given to us by Srila Prabhupada and his ecstasies. Contemplating the Krishna book where Vasudeva willingly gave his children for Kamsa to dispatch, there it is said that for a man of dharma, there is nothing considered to be too painful in discharge of one's duty. Vasudeva was such a man of character that even the evil-minded Kamsa placed faith in his words. Such a man of dharma is very rare and sets the standard of character in an age of glorified animals and honesty too grueling to execute. Prior to our bhakti efforts, many boys were robbed of their spiritual potential, having no idea of duty, sense control, or satisfaction. Not even the base qualifications of a human being. Incongruent to Vedic times, I feel great concern for the mean and wonder how society might function whereby the mean are destroyed, immersed in unspeakable habits. Duty bound to serve and seek the truth was natural in days of yore, and to uphold was hearing about these men like Arjuna, you just some quality of call by witnessing your divine disposition and by those who tirelessly to serve qualities reveal your qualification, and I have no doubt you're a certified man of the topmost dharma, unmotivated and uninterrupted devotional service to Krishna. The brahmacharya ashram is meant to be crucial in establishing proper men in society, and difficult as it is, you've inspired a saffron base in the Wild West. Constructing the Varnashram model for a human society is a monumental task. And in spite of the hardships, you remain solidly fixed in your determined effort. It says in the Krishna book that a saintly person can tolerate all kinds of miserable conditions of life. A learned man can discharge his duties without awaiting favorable circumstances. And a devotee can sacrifice everything to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Every year, I'm growing to appreciate the benediction you and Srila Prabhupada selflessly bestowed upon me. By some mercy, we had a sweet gathering for Srila Prabhupada's 125th Vyasa Puja. We invited 3 guests in Mantra Lounge who were all inspired by his divine grace as they sat glaring at the Hare Krishna movie Yadubha Prabhu had made, after which in satisfaction gorged in a feast of multiple preparations. 2 of the guests are chanting 16 rounds, and Dan from Waikato University is up to 12 rounds and addicted to prasadam. It's been almost 4 years since you've requested the Hamilton project to resurface, and we've seen at least a dozen devotees come from this place. I humbled myself thinking of Srila Prabhupada's sacrifice and your Herculean efforts to pursue his vision. You said that there's only one thing better than chanting Hare Krishna, and that's teaching others to chant Hare Krishna. I pray to understand the depths of your realization so I may continue to assist you. Thank you for the chance to reclaim our life, moreover, to assist the enslaved men of Kali become ideal in character. It's not always easy to outreach in this uncertain environment, a budget program and limited manpower, but I'm taking inspiration from your life example and see these as gems. I hope to develop a fraction of your extraordinary qualities in this lifetime. I'm for the chance to sacrifice everything for you and Srila Prabhupada.
Sorry, Prabhu, your internet connection, I think, is not really good.
That's okay.
Yeah, it was a bit glitchy. Yeah, I'll just want to remind again, please stick to your 3 minutes limit. Please, before you start speaking, everyone, turn your timer on. And yeah, now I think the next person is Stamba Bhava Prabhu.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my prostrated obeisances and the dust at your lotus feet. All glories to you on this most auspicious day of your appearance. At the beginning of the year, when I came before you for our annual review, the first thing you said to me was, "As Stamba Bhava, slow but steady." You're definitely steady. You're also definitely slow. I really appreciate how you've always been so direct in your dealings with me, pointing out my faults without having to add a sugar coating on top to soften the blow. I know this must be an austerity for you since you're completely free from the fault-finding propensity, but you do it out of affection, without which my progress would be even slower. In Christchurch in 2004, I was serving you lunch when you said to me, "I'm sorry that I had to chastise you so much, but it was for your own good." Fortunately, since then, I've been on the receiving end of many such chastisements, and I pray that you will continue to do so, for it is the best way for me to learn. In July of 2007, the plan was to meet you in Munich for a week. I flew in from the UK and you were flying in from Moscow. When I went to the airport with Dal Garanga to pick you up, you didn't arrive on the expected flight. We found out later that while in Moscow, you had fallen out of bed and broken your shoulder. Later, you commented that this was a reaction due to some of your disciples not following the regulative principles strictly. The next day, you arrived in Munich wearing a sling, and for the 3 days that followed, I was fortunate to render intimate service. I prepared your shoulder for bathing by covering your sling so it wouldn't get wet, assist you to dress, and I even put on your tilak, although you weren't impressed with my artistic skills. In fact, practically everything I did, I messed it up and got chastised for. On the last morning before we parted ways, I made you some samosas for your onward flight to America. After I finished making them, I realized that it was Ekadasi. With tears in my eyes, I came to break the devastating news to you. As I told you, I was hanging onto the doorframe expecting to get a severe chastisement, but instead you burst out laughing and said, "It's Ekadasi a day later in the US." Then you kindly explained to me the chastisements that I'd received were with the motive of making me more personal in my dealings. Srila Prabhupada writes in The Nectar of Devotion, "The Nectar of Devotion teaches us how we can love all living entities by the simple process of loving Krishna. The life of sacrifice you have lived for the sake of bringing conditioned souls to devotional service reveals to us that you are completely saturated with love for the Lord. Out of compassion, your heart bleeds for the suffering conditions of the denizens of Kali Yuga. You spend gallons of blood trying to bring them to Krishna's lotus feet. So much effort to keep them enthused in devotional service, and then still, some most unfortunate souls drop their bhakti practice. How lamentable this is. Your 48 years of dedicated, exceptional, and exemplary service to Srila Prabhupada and his ISKCON are a powerful source of inspiration for thousands of devotees all over the world. In fact, I believe that the greatest benediction for our society would be for you to write your autobiography. And if you don't have time because of other projects you're working on, then please appoint one of your disciples to do that service. With a heart full of gratitude, I humbly beg you to keep this wretched soul eternally engaged in service to your lotus feet. Your servant, Stamba Bhav Das.
Hare Krishna, this is Gokul Leela Devidasi. Hare Krishna Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Your love and absorption for Srila Prabhupada's books is inspirational. You jokingly say you moved into the temple just to read the books and take prasadam all day. Bhagavatam is your cherishable companion, reciting the pastimes with affection and conviction to your captivated audience. Your mind, intelligence, emotions, and heart all strapped in, fully present for the journey. You emotionally resonate with the different personalities of the Shastra. You feel what they feel, you see what they see, you agonize with them, you rejoice with them. Bhagavatam is no longer just a storybook, it's alive. The penny drops while listening to you speak. This ain't no Harry Potter. These are personalities of the spiritual world, not fictional characters. Srimad Bhagavatam is where it's at. You drag us out of our mundane anxieties to the world of Krishna consciousness. You forewarn us of what's on the horizon in material existence and dismantle every uprising issue for those who care to hear. Your words keep us focused on the goal, sane, steady, and protected. When you're speaking Bhagavatam, it goes deep into the heart, enlivening our senses. It's a festival of love of God. And mystically, you manage to sing a line or two of a song of the past in nearly every class. I thought I knew the pastimes. You surprise us yet again. Have you thought of this angle? Have you considered this person in the pastime and their experience? I simply read the pages with my eyes, and are they even the same books you're reading? You implore us by example, go deeper, immerse yourself, taste what I'm tasting. When you stop speaking, the room is stunned. We could go on hearing you for hours. Not only an excellent teacher, but also a submissive student. I have witnessed with my own eyes the endearing scene of you attentively listening and taking notes in your godbrother's classes. Absorbed on such a transcendental platform, still you care to question this insignificant jiva. What's the news? The news is I have such a glorious master and I am simply running behind you shouting, Krishna, Krishna, your grateful servant, Gokulila Devidasi.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Just like the small fish that dwell in the river water cannot know of the characteristics and activities of the giant sharks that dwell in the ocean, my heart, predominated by acute impersonalism and materialistic vices, cannot conceive of your transcendental activities and glories. Yet the aquatics that dive and thrive in the depths of the ocean sometimes come to the surface. Similarly, pure devotees, always firmly situated in the transcendental realm, out of compassion, extend themselves to the souls forlorn in the material realm. It is only by your mercy, Gurudev, that you allow us to know you as you desire, for it is not possible for iron to know the quality of pure gold. On this most auspicious occasion of your appearance, Gurudev, I am begging for your mercy to glorify you to my best ability. Gurudev, my most sincere gratitude is to you for allowing me this rare gift of the opportunity to practice sadhana bhakti. Without being so engaged, I would be simply like the bellows of a blacksmith. By engaging our senses in the service of transcendental sense objects, you have given meaning and purpose to our lives. Your association brings us to life. Shukadev Goswami is glorified for enhancing the sweet flavor of the Bhagavatam by presenting it in a manner that appeals to his diverse audience. Following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara, you are an empowered preacher of the Bhagavatam. Your classes are like showers of nectar for our parched hearts. It is my misfortune that I'm not able to absorb myself in the narration of the Bhagavatam like Parikshit Maharaj. Nonetheless, as much as mercy allows, I relish your presentation of different pastimes from the Shastra. You present the overall picture and then you zoom in on a particular aspect, explaining its subtleties and nuances, which I have no access to in my own reading of the Shastra. You draw the perfect philosophical understanding and explain how it applies to our practice of bhakti in the material world. By such expert and ecstatic presentations, you spark interest in dull-brained jivas like myself to approach Shastra with increasing enthusiasm and submission. You give us nectar drops from varying Vaishnava literature, thus sowing the seeds of desire in our hearts to eagerly read these books. For example, your recent readings from Nectar of Devotion and Bhagavatamrita have stimulated my desire to jump into them, and now I'm eagerly awaiting their turn on my reading list. Thank you, Gurudev. Shukadev Goswami is glorified as the great sage who can enter the hearts of all. Gurudev, by dint of your super excellent devotional service to the Guru Parampara, you are able to understand the atomic composition of the rebellious heart of the conditioned souls. You expertly expose the materialistic tendencies that contaminate our consciousness. In your transcendental association, I'm beginning to realize that my life is not meant for eating, drinking, and merrymaking. Receiving the Bhagavatam from a Bhagavat like yourself, I'm starting to get a remote glimpse of the faulty foundations of my life. As Shukadev Goswami is enlivened with more and more Krishna Katha, Gurudev, your slogan is more and more for Krishna. I see Bhagavad Gita 10.9 personified in you. Kathayantas cha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. You are blissed out glorifying Krishna, and you know no end of glorifying Krishna. You're constantly thinking of how to give more and more to Krishna and how to get more and more jivas to give more and more selflessly to Krishna. You're always urging us on to be active and progressive in our bhakti. Gurudev, you exemplify perfect Vaishnava etiquette and relationships. Sometimes we have the rare fortune of witnessing your loving dealings with your God brothers. You're always eager to glorify their exalted qualities and service to Srila Prabhupada with great humility. Gurudev, you're the best rescue operation ever. Perfectly following in the footsteps of the predecessor Vaishnava Acharyas, You just don't pick us up and dump us in a refugee center to fend for ourselves. Knowing that we are hopeless Kali Yuga derelicts, you not only rescue us from the most degraded, dingy conditions, but also extend yourself and provide a complete rehab facility with ashrams, mentors, association, and dynamic curative engagement for our notorious senses.
Hare Krishna, I'm sorry, I'd like to, sorry for the interruption. I think it's way over 5 minutes. There's
Okay.
only limited time left, so I think it would be nice if everyone get the opportunity.
Sure. Thank you, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
So next is on the list is Muchukunda, followed by Madhva Mohini. Muchukunda Prabhu, and then Madhva Mohini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. On this special day of your appearance, I will share some words of gratitude and realization for your pleasure. There are two kinds of Bhagavatam sets who bless this world. The one you read and the one that reads. The one that you sell and the one that sells. The one that sits on the altar and the one that worships. The one that patiently waits to be picked up and the one that picks me up just by your presence. My book Bhagavat only talks to me when I open it, and, whereas the person Bhagavat is constantly vibrating Krishna Katha and destroying ignorance wherever you are. Gurudev, you are the personification of Prabhupada's books. You're a walking Bhagavatam set. I can rely on you to sing to Prabhupada's tune. I acknowledge you for letting Prabhupada's words transform you and transform you completely. And from your transformed self, so many others are inspired to take up the transformative journey of Krishna consciousness. I offer you two humble gifts today. I never admitted this to you before because I never saw it, but today for your birthday, I admit it. I'm a rascal. I genuinely mean it. I finally got it. I've been a little rat bag since who knows when. Thank you so much for all the time you've given me. That is certainly your magnanimity. Inspired by Muni and Sridhachari Prabhus who shared their service, I'd also like to report on some wins in my service of late for your pleasure. In 2009, I showed you some of my attempts at devotional art. You saw the name of Krishna, which I had painted on a wall, and you said, I can't read it. Make it readable. You also saw the painting I did of Jagannath, and you said, paint Krishna's form. You said, remind people of the person Krishna. So these last couple of years have been my best years as your artist. The name of Krishna is well known in the global graffiti and street art scene, thanks to yours and Prabhupada's mercy and the internet. In 2012, Kadama Kapila Prabhu wrote to me and suggested I start a crew for devotional artists. I didn't take it super seriously until recently. We now have 16 members worldwide. Many have contacted Krishna consciousness through our Instagram page and our individual networking. Some have bought books like Bhagavad Gita, visited your center, especially in Wellington, painted Krishna or his names, and become favorable to bhakti. I pray for purity to carry on spreading the name of Krishna in a way that will please Parampara. Thank you for engaging me. Happy appearance day, Gurudev. I love you. Your work in progress. Muchukunda Das.
Thank you, Prabhu. Madhva Mohini Mataji is next. Just another reminder, just a humble reminder, stick to your 3 minutes limit. Now we have only limited time left. So after 3 minutes, I will be mute you if you'll continue speaking. So just a humble request, please stick to your 3 minutes limit.
Of Krishna consciousness. Thank you for giving me the shelter of your lotus feet in the shape of your instructions. By trying to follow your instructions as sincerely as I can, despite my heavy Kali Yuga conditioning, I can see a lot of change is taking place in my heart. I can see how beautifully you have arranged for us all to take full advantage of the holy name, Srila Prabhupada's books, and dynamic engagement in service if we choose. It is our choice whether we want to dive deep in the ocean of devotion or get seared by the material energy. I'm so grateful to be engaged in devotional service. Thank you for giving me such absorbing, tasty, and realization-rich services. By trying to make chanting the priority of my life, I'm starting to see clearer. The dust on the mirror of my heart is being cleansed, however painful the cleaning process may be. It's only painful because I'm attached to the dirt I've been preciously carrying for so many lifetimes. Thank you for mercifully giving me the intelligence to make my life auspicious by chanting the holy name in the association of your sincere disciples. Thank you for giving me compassion and love in the form of outreach efforts. Everything I do is actually just an extension of your service to Srila Prabhupada. I'm simply an instrument, sometimes more effective than others. The ineffectiveness comes from my lack of reciprocation and effort. The effectiveness comes from your steadfastness and persistence. You have invested your energies in your senior disciples who are like your limbs working on your behalf, tirelessly decade after decade. This is an amazing example of selfless service for me. You often refer to Prahlad Maharaj as the gold standard devotee. In my opinion, you are the gold standard devotee, Gurudev. You're reaching out to hundreds of thousands. You're reaching out to hundreds of thousands through your books. You're the Mahabhagavad devotee coming down to the Madhyama platform to reach out to us all. Your divine qualities come through in your interactions. You know exactly how to deal with each individual jiva. I've observed you with so many guests at Bhakti Lounge. You give the highest love to every soul by trying to give them a chance to understand their true self. Your heart is flooding with love of Krishna, and you're always trying to give this treasure to each person you meet according to their capacity. I also had the good fortune to observe you at the book table recently in Lower Hatmore. You're so expert at sifting through people. One lady I brought to you, she got your book and gave a donation, but under your breath you said, it will take many lifetimes. As in, this person is not ready and ripe, but still you gave her your mercy in the shape of your book, full of your realizations. It may take her many lifetimes, as you said, but by your mercy, her journey has started. It's only this mercy that gives me hope in this world of confusion. You're always meditating on how to extend yourself more and more to the jivas by your enthralling outreach classes, your books, having centers like the Bhakti Lounge, prasadam distribution, outlets, and your ecstatic kirtans. You're always scheming for Krishna. Recently, you got in touch with Gokul Leela to start a campaign to get things going. We call it the GIG campaign. Always setting the basic.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Madhumani.
Bring conditioned souls to the shelter of Mahaprabhu's lotus feet.
So his next devotee turn is.
In a conversation with Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya said, oh, okay. Thank you, Gurudev.
Did Gurudev say that 3 more times?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to you. Oh, still muted. Can we unmute ourselves? Yeah. Done. Can you hear me, Gurudev?
Yes.
Okay.
Who is it though?
All glories to you, Gurudev. The pure servant of the pure servant. Servant of the servant. That's what you ask us to be. That's our position, and that's what you see. Either now or in the future, that's your vision. All your disciples assisting your mission to give everyone the opportunity to take shelter under Lord Chaitanya's spiritual umbrella. It won't save you materially, but it will save your soul from the metempsychosis of this mortal world. Martyaloka, that's where we're fixed, in the middle where happiness and distress are mixed. The mercy of Maya, you often remind us, makes you forget the suffering and place your trust in the glimmer of happiness she offers us through Charvita Charvananam, chewing the chewed. Gurudev, you're expert in showing us the nature of the world. Your examples and analogies range from simple to bold. I fly landing on some well-honeyed toast, landing with delight, but getting at most a sweet taste. Before panic kicks in, he knows he's stuck. Poor little fly is fresh out of luck. He just wanted to taste. What's wrong with that? Material desires aren't innocent. They come with a catch. This point you repeat time and again. I wonder, when will it penetrate my thick brain? Another example you gave recently about trying to enjoy in a place of uncertainty. It's like someone's holding a gun at your head saying, go on, be happy. Don't worry that you'll soon be dead. Gurudev, your expertise in explaining shows how deeply you've been meditating on the intensity of Prakshepaatmaka Shakti. So you advise, grab that thing known as material happiness and see. Analyze it thoroughly, get under the bonnet. You'll see there really is no good in it. You deeply consider how to save us from the illusory energy sucking us down. You know that with strong intelligence we'll survive. So you tell us, read 2 hours a day, at least try. Read till Srila Prabhupada's purports of devotion pour from your mouth, nose and ears with emotion. Every devotee needs the experience of depending on Srimad Bhagavatam's excellence to get us through tough times and normal times too. Without Srimad Bhagavatam, we're nothing, it's true. Gurudev, you meditate how to convince us to simply chant Hare Krishna and be happy. You're so glad when devotees are concerned with overcoming obstacles and chanting their rounds. You advise, be a beggar, chant with that mood, deepen your relationship with Nam Prabhu. Attentive chanting and attentive service feed into each other, that's how to increase. Servant of the servant, it would seem, is your deepest meditation's general theme. You scheme to serve devotees of the present, future, and past. You serve, give advice, and true care that will last. You've set up communities of loving devotees whose fuel is serving you to the highest degree. Pleasing you is their life and soul. It's a wondrous miracle to behold. The miracle is your care, your love and support, like Lord Chaitanya gave to Haridas Thakur. He told us of Haridas Thakur's glorious leaving his body. You made it so real, like you'd been there watching. The Lord's lotus feet on his chest with his final breath, he cried, Shri Krishna Chaitanya, and met his exalted breath. You tell us to learn to see through hearing, and it's so easy when you're the one speaking. I'm bound by ignorance, but long to be free to properly hear the message you're trying to tell me. The proof of the hearing is in the application. When will I fully apply your instruction?
Hey, Mataji, just would like to interrupt here. 3 minutes. So.
Hooray, that you are the silence. Okay, thanks. Hare Krishna.
Thanks so much. Anadi Kishore Prabhu, I think, is on the list.
Hi.
We can't hear you. You need to unmute yourself.
Mute. Hare Krishna Gurudev, this is Anadi Keshwar Das. Dear Gurudev, please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you and your Vyasa Puja. I've tried to express some of my recent meditations in a short poetic offering entitled The Highest Degree. My limited perception of your unlimited glory barely scratches the surface of your Sankirtan story. You've strung a fine garland from Prabhupada's wishes of lounges and lofts replete with sweet vegan dishes. As you frankly conveyed, I felt your voice crack, sensing mystic emotion welling up in the back of your throat as you uttered that most important to you is Bhaktivedanta Swami, the Jagad Guru. My mind is in awe considering this, that each effort we make, you never dismiss. What to speak of dismiss, you offer it to that person who's most important to you. And he offers in turn what you offer to him. Saturated with bhakti, it's full to the brim. When it reaches the top of the devotional chain, Sri Radha's lotus feet, then it's offered again. When Sri Radha presents to Govinda her dearest, what seems light years away, in fact, is the nearest, the closest, most precious, most valuable art, the perfection of love, the goal of the heart. The condition dependent on this unworthy descendant to get my steel-framed heart into gear. I require assistance facing my mind's persistence when the material energy sneers. You're a bhakti dream weaver for this unworthy receiver. You encourage and guide nonetheless. In previous days, Guru's sidelong gaze, I never sought out, I confess. But the fire was lit and oblations were made. My life was renewed and obeisances paid. Now 3 years gone by since I made that decision. This auspicious day, I pray for the vision. Each moment I pass, each thing that I do, as an ever fresh chance to offer to you. My whole life is an offering, or at least it should be, to the most humble servant of the highest degree, your aspiring servant, Anadi Kishore Das.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev, Manobi Ram Das here. All glories to you on the auspicious day of your appearance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. In one of your recent Zoom classes, I asked you the question, we may desire to accomplish more in terms of outreach, better the systems in place, but may feel limited by our personal capacity. Should we just take opportunities as they come or make opportunities? You relayed the following points in your answer. 1, we should always be thinking about how to expand Lord Chaitanya's mission. But unless Krishna gives us the intelligence and energy, we won't be able to do anything. 2, we should think big, but at the same time act like beggars for Krishna to empower us. 3, we should always pray to Lord Chaitanya and the spiritual masters to show us how we can do more. Having a chance to observe you and hearing what you've accomplished, I can understand that you are one who perfectly displays the mood that you highlighted in your answer. The source of your empowerment, the inspiration to do more, comes from your being obedient to the dictates of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya. You are, in other words, wide open for them to work their magic. Reading through Makeni Bhagavad Dham by Srila Prabhupada, we see him also display the mood of a beggar, thinking himself unqualified to bring the passioned out, ignorant Westerners out of illusion. He appeals to Logeshwara to work his magic, to bring them out of Maya and deliver them. He states with conviction that by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, any man can be liberated from the lower modes and that all inauspicious things in the heart will disappear. Interestingly, you're advocating the mass distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam echoes that same conviction. He pleads to the Lord to empower him and give him the means to succeed in his preaching efforts. He speaks merely out of humility. We've been tasked with trying to share Krishna consciousness in the darkest age of Kali, in the darkest region of the world, the wild, wild west. Looking at the amount of work that has to be done even in just little old New Zealand can seem daunting. On my own, yes, it's safe to say that I would not be able to accomplish anything of value. I'm here now by your mercy alone. In an attempt to be humble, I therefore ask, what is my capacity? Am I just coasting? Could I be doing more? Please show me how. I'm open. I thought I knew me, but now I'd say probably not. And I'm wide open for you to show me how to do more. Your aspiring servant, Manobi Ram Das.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. It's Anna speaking from Hungary. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you and your lotus feet on your most auspicious day of your appearance. What a year. Now that I find myself in the fortunate position to be able to glorify you, I constantly think of every wonderful thing you've done in order to save me, an unqualified fallen soul, even before knowing me. It also indicates your unlimited greatness. This year in February, I moved into the Budapest ashram as a brahmacharini and started distributing books full time. At that time, I was not so sure about all of this, and I can now admit that I was a bit scared. But on the last night at home, you appeared in my dream, and I still can recall the experience, how real it felt, how comforting your presence was, and how you made every little piece of my doubts disappear, how you cleared my vision about the future and the choice I was about to make. And this is how I feel about you still, when I hear from you, see you even from afar like now. In times like this, when our material bodies are even more confined to one place due to travel restrictions. But by Krishna's arrangement and the ocean of your mercy, I get the chance to write to you and exchange letters with you. Even if I ask the most obvious questions, you still take time to answer them and help me through the challenges. I'd never be able to repay you for your endless compassion, inspiration that you're giving every single day. I can only express my eternal gratitude for your example of a pure devotee, an example for perfect devotion and service. And I can just hope that one day I can get your magical association, as I have no other desires than serving you. Your love and dedication for the mission of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada gives the world hope every day and intensifies my faith that this is the one and only reality that we live now. Listening to your lectures makes me feel you're bringing the spiritual world closer and closer to us. Please keep inspiring me, give your blessings and mercy, so I can stay close to the devotees, to the Sankirtan movement, to your lotus feet. We have no hope other than that. Your eternal servant, Bhakti Anna.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. I just wanted to thank you for inspiring me and motivating me to be Krishna conscious. I praise you for giving me your time and mercy. And I'm overjoyed to be in the association of your disciples. And I just wanted to share that how you inspired me in terms of jazz and bringing your passions to Krishna consciousness. You inspired me at the Ocheki retreat when you talked about John Coltrane and how he inspired you to read the Bhagavad Gita. And I'm just happy to have received your mercy and time, and I praise you. Thank you.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. So now we have come to the end of the homages. Thank you to all of those who shared their devotion with us today. And I apologize, sorry if I had to rush you a little bit because we have very limited time. So now we have a chance to hear from our beloved spiritual master, Gurudev. So I would request you to speak. Everybody is eagerly waiting to hear from you. Hare Krishna.
Om Gana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desha Tarine. Let us begin by focusing on our mission. In the corporate world, there's a saying, mission creep. Mission creep means that although there was one mission statement, some or other things veered off course. And that veering off course can be very subtle, gradual, therefore mission creep, just like something creeps along on the floor very slowly. In this way, in our life, we can lose sight of what is our real goal. When we read Sri Ishopanishad, Srila Prabhupada explains in one purport that the human form of life is one of heavy responsibilities. I wonder how many of us feel that special weight, that heavy weight, that this human body has a special purpose. We can look at the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we're reminded, Labdha sadulabhamidam bahu sambhavante manusham artadam anityam apiha dhiraha turnam yateta napatet anumrityu yavan nishreyasaya vishaya kalu sarvata syat. After many, many births and deaths, one achieves the rare human form of life, which, although temporary, affords one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. Thus, a sober human being should quickly endeavor for the ultimate perfection of life, as long as his body, which is always subject to death, has not fallen down and died. After all, sense gratification is available even in the most abominable species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is possible only for a human being. We want to avoid anything that impedes or, worse, destroys our spiritual life. We don't want to be victims of what Ishopanishad calls Atmaha. We don't want to be the destroyer of our spirit soul. You can't destroy the spirit soul, of course, but we can plunge ourselves into such darkness that it seems like the soul is killed. Our criticism of society today is not so much about the political arrangements, the economic arrangements. Our criticism is mainly focused on the obscuring, the obliterating, the covering over of what is the real human mission. That is our real criticism. Of course, you see the way things work, the way Maya works, is that if you forget your human mission, then all your material arrangements sooner or later fail. Whether economic, political, environmental, psychological, all these arrangements, these attempts at adjustment fail by the arrangement of the illusory energy because we've forgotten what is the real mission of human life. So try to understand in this way. We're not directly fingering the culprit as economic, political, environmental. Although we know those problems are the result of a main problem, which is forgetting what is our mission, forgetting what is the purpose of the human form of life. I'm remembering one of my disciples asked me, Guru Maharaj, do you think this is the end of Western civilization? I thought, has there ever been Western civilization? I'd like it to begin. I think one true thing that Gandhi is said to have said when he was asked his opinion, what do you think? Gandhi was asked, what do you think about Western civilization? And his famous reply was, I think it would be a good idea. We don't want to ever forget that we have a body that brings heavy responsibilities. And it's so easy to forget that. Therefore, our main criticism of human society today is that it has constructed a way of life in which people march blindly into darkness, unaware of what their mission should be. That's our main complaint. I remember Srila Prabhupada saying once, it sounds like double talk. He said, we are not against the advancement and progress of human society, even though it's suicidal. Our point is that, again, what are we supposed to be doing as human beings? If we get so caught up in the endless complications, permutations, and perplexities of material existence and forget what is our actual mission, what is our priority, then we've made the greatest mistake. As stated in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, there is no greater mistake you can make than to put something else as a higher priority than your spiritual advancement. We all have our responsibilities to our temporary body. We all have our responsibilities for living as simply as we can in this world of complexity. But we should always remember what's the purpose. We shouldn't get lost in all the complexities and perplexities. There'll always be perplexities. Sometimes devotees ask me, what about the conspiracy? And I say, yes, I'm a true believer 100% in the conspiracy. It's known as Maya. Everything else is fine print. Whether there is this economic scam or this political scam or that or the other, you can be sure that behind it all is the main conspirator, the illusory energy. And what are we going to do about that? Therefore, whether this situation or that situation, our spiritual life always has to be the foremost concern, because materially, you'll never get to the bottom of the intricacies of this world, the perplexities of this world. Again, that's why it's called Maya. You can't sort it out materially. But with our human body, which has given us the most weighty responsibility, we can cross over the ocean. What is that ocean? Bhava Sindhu, the ocean of becoming and unbecoming. This is our mission. No matter what ashram we're in, family or not, single or not, how are we going to cross over? There's another famous verse in the 11th canto. Nri deham ajam sulabam sudurlabam plavam sakopam gurukarna dharam maya nakulena nabasvateritam human bhavadhim nataret sa atmaha. Again, we find Atmaha, just as in Ishopanishad, the killer of his or her own soul. Translation: the human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature, although it is a very rare achievement. This human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds, impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. We're meant for crossing the ocean. And what about that ocean? You've heard me quote many times Shukadeva Goswami speaking to Bridget Maharaj. Alaya dosha niderajan asti heko mahangana kirtanareva krishnasya mukta sangha param vijay. The age of Kali is an ocean of faults. You can't get to the end of it by counting the waves in the ocean. If you want to convince yourself, you've heard me say before, just go to the ocean, which is, at least in New Zealand, no more than a few hours drive away in this direction or that direction. Go to the ocean, go to the beach and start counting the waves. You would say, that's silly. That's so futile. You'll never get to the end of the number of waves crashing on the shore. Similarly, Shukadeva Goswami says, you'll never get to the end of the faults in Kali Yuga. You'll never sort it out. You try this way, there's perplexity. You try that way, there's perplexity. You have plan A, doesn't work. You try your plan B, doesn't work. Then plan D seems to work. But then 2 years later, plan D collapses. Then you're back to plan A. Meanwhile, the body is aging, breaking down. Sometimes we just don't know what to do, how best to proceed through this ocean of faults. We have this human body, which is the boat meant for crossing the ocean. It's perfectly constructed for that purpose. And we have the spiritual master as the captain of the ship, and we have the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the winds blowing. I guess in this example of Bhagavatam, you're talking about sailboats, not petrol fueled boats or whatever. So therefore, the winds are very important when you have sails. And those winds are the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's the boat, there's the captain, and there are the winds. Whenever we're perplexed by the complexities of this world, just as Arjuna was in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, we should remember the boat, the captain, and the winds. All are necessary. We're meant to develop love for Krishna. That may seem so far away, but the goal is steadily and gradually achieved by our daily decisions. Should I do this? Should I do that? No matter what ashram you're in, you have to make decisions about how to maneuver in this world, this Bhava Sindhu, this ocean of becoming and unbecoming. So if you're always thinking, what decision will be best for achieving the mission, for crossing over the ocean? If you always think like that, Krishna in your heart will take care of you. You'll be able to understand the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam more. You'll be able to hear from your spiritual master if embedded in your heart is always the desire to consider what is the best option for my spiritual life. Then you're ready for sailing across the ocean. And that kind of core sincerity will keep you from being capsized by the waves in such a dangerous ocean. And in fact, even if sometimes you do feel a bit overrun, overpowered by the waves, because you had that core sincerity, you'll become right again. So the best protection for accomplishing your weighty mission is to always have in your heart the thinking, the dedication. How can I act? How can I make a decision in a way that's best for my spiritual advancement? I have to discharge the mission. I have to cross the ocean. Keeping that foremost in your mind makes life simple. We've heard plain living or simple living and high thinking. If you want to live simply, then the high thinking has to be there. And what is the high thinking? Nothing material. The high thinking is what's best for Krishna's pleasure. every once in a while, some devotees slipping write me that, okay, Gumaraj, we can't follow any sadhana, but we are going to live a sattva guna life. We'll live a mode of goodness life. I have to gently inform them that without the daily practices of sadhana bhakti, you will not be able to maintain yourself in sattva guna, in the mode of goodness. Not in this day and age. It sounds very possible, doesn't it? Okay, look, we're not the best devotees. We don't chant every day. We don't do this, we don't do that, but we're going to keep the house clean. We'll still be vegetarian. When you think like that, you're assuming that the modes of nature are just going to be static and not bother you, when actually it's just like your situation is just like being in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by huge waves. You may say, oh, I'll be steady, but the waves are going their own way. They're doing their own thing, regardless of what you may say. So it is not possible to just live a mode of goodness life, live simply without the high thinking. High thinking doesn't mean some material goal. High thinking means, let me complete the mission. Let me discharge the weighty responsibility. Let me cross the ocean. And then you have to know what's on the other side of the ocean. It's love of Krishna. We're not just about negating material existence or criticizing material existence. That's half the package, and it's necessary. But let's not forget the other half of the package. We're meant to be developing our attraction for Krishna. If you forget that, you'll be overwhelmed by the endless complexities and perplexities of the material world, and will certainly try to fulfill our loving propensity on the material platform. But our heart will never be satisfied without progressing toward love of Krishna. And we do that by following Krishna as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For a beginning devotee, or a devotee who just stays at the beginning stage, he or she just cares about his or her own spiritual life, which is something. But it's the third class devotee. Sometimes I would say, can we have more third class devotees? Because at least they're concerned with their own spiritual life. And they don't write me letters like, we don't have any sadhana, but we'll try to live a sattva guna life. So third class devotees are necessary, but we should go to a higher level. What is that higher level? Majjham. You recognize that the more you give Krishna, the more you get Krishna. Of course, you have to have some Krishna in order to give. It's a great achievement to be a third-class devotee, just to be concerned with his or her own spiritual development in a very ritualistic and selfish way. That's a great achievement. But Lord Chaitanya is calling us to a higher level so that we can get the full extent of Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Mahaprabhu wants to give away love of Krishna. All we have to do is become the servant of Sriman Gauranga Mahaprabhu. That's all we have to do. And by serving Gauranga Mahaprabhu, through that service to Gauranga, we develop attachment for Radha and Krishna. That's the secret. Otherwise, in this age of Kali, in the ocean of material existence, the Bhava Sindhu, it is practically impossible to approach Radha and Krishna directly. But if you approach them as a servant of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, then you'll be successful. Because Mahaprabhu wants to give it away. He wants to give away love of Krishna. But you simply need to focus on approaching him. And through him, your goals will be achieved, your highest spiritual goals. Yes, you can become a lover of Krishna. So we want our spiritual life to be progressive. For the sake of ourselves, for the sake of our family, for the sake of the world. Again and again, Srila Prabhupada said that we need hundreds and thousands of gurus. Representing Krishna is not one person's affair. Throughout the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, we have now about 100 persons doing the service of Guru. But Prabhupada wanted hundreds and thousands. That means some of you who are thinking, oh, I could never do that, or I would never want to do that. The responsibility can come your way. Being or doing the service of Guru doesn't mean you have to travel the world like a sannyasi. When Lord Chaitanya orders, wherever you go, whomever you meet, the acharyas explain, you can take that he's referring to just your family or just your neighborhood, or if you have the facility, the whole world. So there's no geographic consideration. It's all about doing what you can in your situation, doing as much as you can. If you can travel the world and go to every continent, okay. If you can simply reach out to your relatives, your neighborhood, okay. But Ama Agya Guru Hoyataredesh. On my order, you do this. So everyone should take up this responsibility by becoming qualified. It's not just one person's mission or one person's service. Take up the means to become qualified. We want to be used by Krishna. That means be the servant of Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and through that service, through the dasyaras, the servitude to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, even the Madhurya Bhakti to Radha and Krishna becomes revealed. So we have so much to do. We have so much to hear about, chant about, and so much service to be done. In the coming year, let's be more conscientious of the opportunity we have. The pandemic and its restrictions have caused us to realize we could be doing more. We could be doing better. We shouldn't take our situation for granted. So, to the extent that the world circumstances allow, let's get off the mental and rededicate ourselves to Srila Prabhupada's mission, Lord Chaitanya's mission, Krishna's mission. And then our life will be successful. For as long as we stay in the particular body we have now, let's remember what is our weighty mission that the human body gives us, and not become overwhelmed by the endless complexities. In some parts of the world, there's this problem. In another part of the world, there's not that problem. And then it reverses. 10 or 20 years later, the part of the world that thought it was problem-free becomes drowning in problems. And the other part of the world that was drowning in problems thinks, oh, things are better now. It just goes on and on and on. Things that people consider routine in one part of the world are considered hellish in another part of the world. Just like when you hear about calamities and crises in other parts of the world, refugees, persons in New Zealand, for example, will think, oh, how horrible. How could people live in those circumstances? And then, as I pointed out a short time ago in one class, when people in other parts of the world hear about the earth shaking in New Zealand, hear about the tremors, they think, oh, how horrible. How could they live there? But the Kiwis all know, another day, another tremor. What's the big deal? But as I was explaining in class, whenever there's an earth tremor here, my relatives in the USA hear about it on the world news, and they're calling up, or they're trying to call. Are you all right? Are you all right? Whereas the New Zealanders, they all know, another day, another earth tremor. What's the big deal? So what is considered so monumental in one part of the world, in another part of the world, is considered just part of daily life. I can remember now, during the term of your current prime minister in New Zealand, twice while she was giving a press conference, the building started to shake. Twice. But New Zealanders say, oh, man, it happens. These are the shaky isles. Life goes on. Whereas other parts of the world, they're freaking out. Oh, my God, I saw that on the news. Your prime minister was giving a talk and the building was shaking. Are you okay down there? Are you okay? Be convinced that Maya is at work everywhere. The three modes of material nature are working everywhere. And there's adhyatmic, adhibhotic, and adhidaivic miseries. The threefold miseries are everywhere. It just seems like, well, at this time, and this place is good and that place is problematic. And then it reverses. Or everywhere becomes problematic. The best solution is to get out of the ocean of material existence. That's our mission. Whatever good facilities you have, beginning with your own human body, or your living situation, if it's a good situation, be grateful for it and use it for completing your mission. As Prabhupada would often say, we're not against people living comfortably, but don't forget your mission. What is your main mission in life? I've told you before the story about how one godbrother and I, Burijan Prabhu, were invited to a housewarming. A family had just moved into a new house, and they, of course, invited devotees over for prasad, and they invited a priest devotee to do a yajna to consecrate the new home. It was all part of household life. It's all right. And so Boyjan Prabhu and I were sitting together, and we were both supposed to speak. So I was wondering, well, I said, you're a householder. I'm a sannyasi. I mean, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to just say, Dukalayama Shastratam, this material world's a temporary, miserable place? That would be kind of a downer at someone's, housewarming celebration. Newlywed couple moving into their new home. And then Swami Maharaj reminds them, Anicca Masukam Lokam, it's a temporary, miserable world. We want to forget that. So we were discussing, Boyjan Prabhu and I. He's a householder. He's got children, a wife. So it wasn't a complex situation for him. But here I am, the Swami, how do I be encouraging and at the same time speak the reality? So we discussed, and then Boyjan Prabhu came up with a solution. He said, okay, here's your speech. Tell them, be as happy as you can be in a world where there's no happiness. So in that way, I covered all the points. I was encouraging, be as happy as you can be in a world where there's no happiness. And I was also addressing the reality. Everything is clear when we understand what is our mission, to cross the ocean. I've been on every habitable continent of this world, and I've seen so many permutations, complications, complexities, perplexities. They just go on and on. The safest position in the material world is chanting Hare Krishna. You can do your best to take care of your body and your family in the best way. But what's the purpose of all that? What's the purpose of the perfectly constructed boat? The human body. The purpose is to cross over the ocean. And crossing over the ocean means developing love of Krishna, becoming more attracted to Krishna, his name, form, qualities, and pastimes. If you forget that, then what's the use? You have to give Krishna quality time. Just like a spouse complains, you're not giving me enough quality time. You're not talking to me enough. I always remember Gulin Yatra telling me when his wife Rasa Yatra was during her teenage years was zeroing in on him. Her line was, to get him to pay more attention to her, was, you're not talking to me enough. So, that pulled him up straight real quick. He realized, oh, we've got a serious possibility here. I should be more focused. Krishna is the supreme person, Purushottam. And so through the books, through the spiritual master, Krishna tells you, you're not hearing from me enough. Where's the quality time? You're not using your senses to satisfy my senses enough. So I thank you all for your words of appreciation. I'm constantly praying to Srila Prabhupada that I can do better for you. And Please always consider me as the servant of Srila Prabhupada, and my hope is to inspire you to cross the ocean of material existence and develop love for Krishna. Let us not be selfish. All of you, because Srila Prabhupada said that to us, his disciples, all of you I want become spiritual masters and deliver the world. Whether it's just your relatives, just your neighborhood, or every continent, that we will see. But all of you become qualified. And then you'll see Mahaprabhu's mission increase more and more. What seems impossible now will become revealed as more and more possible. I remember one last point, Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur. When the Mayapur project began with just a handful of devotees. And then by 1973 or 1974, the Mayapur project increased to 20 devotees. And what was Prabhupada telling the devotees who they couldn't understand it? He said, 25,000 devotees here one day. There are just 10 or 20 devotees in the Mayapur project. Now there are 7,000 devotees in the Mayapur project. Even that, it's not 25,000, but even 7,000 would seem so inconceivable, a chincha to devotees back in the early 70s. There were so few devotees in Mayapur, and no one wanted to stay. When the first Mayapur festival happened in 1973 or so, 73 or 74, a few hundred eager devotees came from the West, eager to see India. And then, of course, after a few weeks, they left. So this went on for a few years. No potential manpower or lady power was staying in Mayapur. At best, everyone would just come for a festival and then disappear, go to Vrindavan and back to Europe or America. So during the festival, there would be a few hundred devotees there. And then the day the festival ended, down to 20 devotees. So one of the leaders went to Srila Prabhupada and said, what can we do? No one wants to stay. There's just 10 or 20 of us. So at that time, the devotees had moved on from Mayapur to Vrindavan for the rest of the festival. We would do 2 weeks festival in Mayapur and then 2 weeks in Vrindavan, and then go back to the other parts of the world from where we originated. So Prabhupada told this leader, all right, all the devotees have left Mayapur, they've gone to Vrindavan, and then from there they'll go back to the West. Go to Vrindavan and just take whoever you can, bring them to Mayapur. Because the leader was complaining, the temple presidents in the West won't give any manpower. They say we can't touch anyone. Everyone's needed. So Prabhupada told this leader, okay, go to Vrindavan and just recruit. But he said, one thing, remember, don't touch any of my book distributors. So the leader did that. How did he do it? He went to Vrindavan, and in the middle of the night with a torch, with a flashlight, he went through the ashrams, waking devotees up and saying, let's go to Mayapur. Come on, back up. Let's go. In the middle of the night while everyone is sleeping. So, and none of the temple presidents could object. So he recruited about 10 or 20 devotees in the middle of the night, took them away in the middle of the night with the blessings and permission of Srila Prabhupada, who only gave one stipulation: don't touch my book distributors. So these are some of the glories of Mahaprabhu's mission. And I thank you all for your assistance and your service. I'm grateful. And I pray to Srila Prabhupada that I can do more for you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much very much. Thank you. Now we will move on to the next part of our program, which is Pushpanjali prayers and followed by Guru Puja. So Bhakti Lounge community, they will do the Pushpanjali. They will read the Pushpanjali prayers. And I request all the devotees, many offering flowers, please offer flowers to the photo of Guru Maharaj you have in your home, in your ashram, not to the computer screen. And yeah, so we'll now begin the Pushpanjali prayers.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Please, everybody come forward. We're taking sacred time. Please come forward. And we offer respects to our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharyas, all the way to the Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Govinda. And then we return to Devamrita Swami's pranam mantras. We'll say Isha Pushpanjali at the end, and we offer a third of our flowers to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Please kindly repeat with enthusiasm. Om Agyana Timidandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Devamrita Swamin Iti Namine Prachare Purvadaksham Cha Bhaktachara Pravinata
paratatapi karunyam yasya sarve chate namaha nama om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Sarasvatiti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Prematya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddha Apasiddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambha Rasambodhe Parambujaya Te Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Vibhava Bhumestvam Nirdishta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratashe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matirgati Matsarvasva Parambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Singhanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtalibi Savyamano Smarami Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Vamshivata Tatashtitaha Karshan Venu Svanar Gopir Gopinata Shriyestu Naha Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody can please come forward a little. After the first set of pranam mantras, we offer a third of our flowers to our spiritual master. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Devamrita Swami Iti Namine Pachare Purvadaksham Cha Bhaktachara Pravinata Paratatapi Karunyam Yasya Sarve Chite Namaha Esha Pushpanjali Holiness Devamrita Swami Maharaja Ki Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Devamrita Swamin Iti Namine Pachare Purvadaksham Cha Bhaktachara Vinata Paratatapi Karunyam Yasya Sarve Chite Namaha Esha Pushpanjali His Holiness Devamrita Swami Maharaja Ki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Devamrita Swamin Iti Namine Pachare Purvadaksham Cha Bhaktachara Pravinata Paratatapi Karunyam Yasya Sarve Chite Namaha Esha Pushpanjali His Holiness Devamrita Swami Maharaja Ki Jai.
Now we have Puja.
Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Bandamui Savadana Mate Bandamui Savadana Mate Jahada Prasade Pai Ebhavatori Ajai Krishna Prapti Hoija Haite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Korea Aikya Guru Mukha Anakori Homane Asha Shegara Charanirate Ase Utama Gate Shegara Charanirate Ase Utama Gate Jai Prasade Pure Savasha Oh Chako Dilo Jai Jami Jami Prabhu say Chako Dandilo Jai Jami Jami Prabhu say Divya Gan Hriday Prakashito Divya Gan Hriday Prakashito Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasha Jate Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Avidya Vinasha Jate Vediga Jahara Charito. Vediga Jahara Charito. Shigoro Karuna Sindhu Adama Jenara Panu. Shigoro Karuna Sindhu Adama Jenara Panu. Lokanata Lokera Jivana. Lokanata Lokera Jivana. Ah, Prabhu Koro Doya. Dehomore Padachaya. Aha, Prabhu Koro Doya. Dehomore Padachaya. Aha, Prabhu Koro Doya, Deho More Padachaya. Aha, Prabhu Koro Doya, Deho More Padachaya. Ebe Jacha Koshak Chebovana. Ebe Jacha Koshak Chebovana. Shila Gurudev Patita Pavana. Jaya Gurudev Patita Pavana. Jaya Gurudeva. 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 Jaya Gurudeva. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Jaya, Jaya, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Guru Dev, Jaya, Jaya, Guru Dev. His Holiness Devamrita Swami Ki.
Jai Om Vishnu Bhavam Subhadaraja Jaya Astatera Satasi Simad
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Devamrita Swaminiti Namine. Prachare Purvadaksham Cha Bhakta Chara Pavinata Paratapi Karunyam Yasya Savechate Namaha. Prachare Purvadaksham Cha Bhakta Chara Pavinata Paratapi Karunyam Yasya Savechate Namaha. His Holiness Devamrita Swami Ki.
Jai Om Vishnu Bhavam Subhadaraja Jaya Astatera Satasi Simad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnu Bhavam Subhadaraja Jaya Stotera Satasi Simad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda ki. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktabind. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopagopina. Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan ki. Vrindavan Dham ki. Navadip Dham ki. Ganga Mai ki. Yamuna Mai ki. Tulasi Devi ki. Bhakti Devi ki. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki. Gaur Premanande. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sisi Guru and Gauranga. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for being personally present here during this celebration. And I just want to say thanks to all the devotees around the world for joining us today.
Yes, I know some of them are really up at special hours. Anna from Hungary, I know, is up at a very special hour. And it's so nice that I get to see some of you. Not everyone who's around the world, but we're thankful for those who are able to tune in. And again, I thank you for your words of appreciation. It's my pleasure, not only my duty, but my pleasure to offer these words of appreciation up through the parampara. And that way I can be of real value to you. So please continue to think how you can discharge the weighty mission of the human form of life. Complexities, perplexities, intricacies in this world will always be there. It's just that at different parts of the world, people become aware at different times of the ongoing realities. But what is the ultimate reality? Taking shelter of chanting Hare Krishna and engaging in Krishna's service in the association of devotees. Without the association of sincere devotees, a sincere devotee means one whose number one priority is engaging in Krishna's service. Without that association, it's so easy to get lost in the material world, to drown in the ocean, even though we may have good intentions. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that without the association of dedicated devotees, we gradually lose the ability to discriminate between material and spiritual activities. It all becomes a merge. And everything starts to look like, oh, it's all for Krishna. Everything is Krishna. And meanwhile, the illusory energy starts to saturate your life. So we always want to be in the association of dedicated devotees as a priority, not as an accessory. Oh, by the way, I need some association. No, this is a mainstay. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur has instructed us, Andarat Trana Sevi Bhakta Sanevas, Janame Janame Hoy E Abhilas. Birth after birth. I don't mind as long as I have the association of dedicated devotees. In such association, anything can be tolerated. And this world is a place of toleration. You'll find that out sooner or later if you haven't already. No one is exempt, not even New Zealand. Let us cling tightly to Srila Prabhupada's mission and think how to expand it. Let's accelerate off the mental platform and into some transcendental, inconceivable service. According to our capacity, according to our style of the ashram we're in. So again, I thank you for your words of appreciation. I wish to do more for you. And for as much more time as Krishna allows me to stay in this body, in this world, I'll try my best. But remember, everyone, all devotees are given the mission that wherever they go, whomever they meet, teach the science of Krishna. On the order of Mahaprabhu, become a guru and deliver the population, whether it's just your family, just your relatives, just your neighborhood, or the whole world. Take that mission of Mahaprabhu to heart, become qualified, and execute. So thank you very much. I'll take your leave now. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. His Holiness Devamrita Maharaj ki.
Jai.
Jai. And thanks to all the devotees once again. And I just want to say that asking for forgiveness, begging for forgiveness, if in my humble effort of trying to organize this this celebration, if I have committed any mistake or because of the time I had to mute few devotees while they were reading the offering. So please forgive me for that. And yeah, just once again, thanks to all the devotees and their effort. Special thanks to all the devotees in Bhakti Lounge community for putting the Kirtan, Guru Puja, and yeah, there a lot of effort has gone behind this. So on this note, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And His Holiness Devamrita Maharaj ki jai. Oh, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for organizing.
Kripa Sindhuyevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anant Koji Vaishnav Vrind ki.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami